Why do some problems just never seem to go away? You try everything, thinking, planning, trying again and again, but nothing seems to change. The truth is, sometimes the key isn't doing more. It's seeing things from a completely different perspective. I learned this during one of the most challenging moments of my life. And what I discovered changed everything. Today, I want to share that with you because it might be exactly what you need to turn the page and find the peace you've been searching for. If you're tired of feeling stuck, if you've tried everything and still can't find a way out, stick with me. I get it. I know what it's like to feel overwhelmed. That feeling like the weight of the world is pressing down on you. Maybe it's a problem at work, something not right in your family, or even a silent battle in your own mind. And the harder you try to fix it, the messier it seems to get. It's like being stuck in quicksand. The more you struggle, the deeper you sink. There was a time in my life when the problems felt endless. I made plans, sought advice, even prayed. But nothing seemed to work. It was frustrating. It was exhausting. And maybe that's exactly how you feel right now. But let me tell you something that could change everything. It's not about trying harder. It's about accessing something beyond yourself, something that's already available to transform your situation, even when everything around you feels impossible. The Bible shows us there's a different way to handle our problems. And when you understand this, it changes everything. Not just how you face difficulties, but how you live your life. When we're in the middle of a problem, it's natural to try to handle it on our own. We start planning, chasing solutions, and sometimes even panicking when things don't go as planned. But here's the truth. We weren't created to carry all our burdens alone. The Bible teaches us there's a place of rest, of trust, where we can find answers beyond human logic. That place is the presence of God. Let me take you to a passage that completely shifted my perspective on dealing with problems. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight." Do you see what this verse is saying? It's not about understanding everything or trying to control every detail. It's about trusting, surrendering, and recognizing that God sees the bigger picture. That's where transformation begins. One of the biggest mistakes we make is trying to solve our problems on our own without turning to God. Deep down, we often believe we can handle everything with our own strength. But let me ask you this. How often does that actually work? What I've learned, and what you can learn too, is that the Holy Spirit wants to guide us every step of the way. He's always there, ready to show us the best path forward, but we need to make room to hear him. I get it. It's not always easy. When the problems feel overwhelming, our minds get so noisy that it seems impossible to hear God. But it's precisely in those moments that we need to quiet everything else and seek his presence. It doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as simple as a prayer. Lord, I don't know what to do, but I trust you. And it's amazing how God responds. Sometimes it's an idea that comes out of nowhere. Other times, it's that deep peace that fills your heart and gives you the strength to keep going. That's the start of the secret to solving any problem. Trusting that God has the answer, even when you can't see it yet. You don't need to have all the answers right now. All you need is to take the first step, surrender the problem into God's hands. It might sound simple, but in that act of trust, you create space for the supernatural to move in your life. And trust me, when you rely on him, things that once seemed impossible start to fall into place. Now that you understand, trusting God is the first step, we need to talk about something essential: how to hear his voice in the middle of all the chaos. Sometimes it might feel like God is silent. You pray, you seek, but it seems like he's not speaking. Let me share something that completely changed my perspective on this. God speaks. He always speaks. The problem is the noise in our minds or the circumstances around us often block us from hearing him. The first thing we need to do is slow down. We live in a world that demands quick answers, constant productivity, and immediate solutions. But God doesn't work that way. He moves in the stillness, in the quiet, in the space you create for him. Remember that verse in Psalms that says, "Be still and know that I am God"? That's an invitation for you to pause, breathe, and let him speak. So, how does God speak? In many ways, he speaks through his word. A verse might jump off the page and speak directly to your heart. He can speak through a sermon, wise advice from someone you trust, or even through your circumstances. But what amazes me the most is how he speaks to our hearts through the Holy Spirit. It's that gentle nudge, that deep sense of direction you feel within your soul. It's like a whisper that brings clarity in the midst of confusion. But to hear that whisper, you need to create space, and that takes practice. Set aside a moment for prayer without distractions, a time alone with God, away from your phone, away from the day's worries. It's in that quiet place of intimacy where you start to sense the direction he wants to give you. And here's what's amazing. God doesn't just give you answers. He gives you peace. Even when the solution hasn't come yet, he places a deep assurance in your heart that everything will be okay because he's in control. That's what I want you to grasp today. Solving your problems doesn't mean having all the answers right away. It means being in sync with the one who holds all the answers. When you let God guide you, he doesn't just address your concerns, he transforms you in the process. And that transformation, that's the greatest gift you could ever receive. This might feel challenging at first. Trusting, slowing down, listening for God's voice. It's something that takes practice, but it's a journey worth every step. And here's the good news. You don't have to do this alone. God is with you, and there are also people who can support you. Right here in this community, in the comments of this video, you'll find others who are also seeking this transformation. So let me invite you to do something. Share in the comments what has been a challenge for you. What's the problem you feel you need to hand over to God? I'll be here, along with so many others, praying for you and cheering for your victory. And if this message resonated with you today, share it with someone you know who needs to hear it too. Maybe it's a friend or a family member. Sometimes what you send could be the exact answer they've been waiting for from God. Today, you took an important step. You paused, reflected, and decided to seek something greater than your own strength. That alone is a victory. I want you to hold on to this truth. You are not alone. God sees what you're going through. He understands the pain and the weight you're carrying, and he's already working in your life. Even when you don't see it, even when you don't feel it, he's moving. The solution to your problems might not come in the way you expect, but it will always come in the right way at the perfect time. Trust him, seek the guidance of the Holy Spirit, and above all, don't give up. The secret isn't in understanding everything, but in trusting the God who understands it all. Walk in that certainty, and you'll see that no problem is too big for him to solve. I'm praying for you. May God strengthen your faith, renew your hope, and bring you the peace that only he can give. Remember, every problem is an opportunity to experience God's power in your life.